afternoon, everyone. I hope all is well, especially during this time. I know there's a lot going on. Um, my name is Ian Wright, and let's get started with the presentation. So for my paper, I'll be looking at the mother gap or the other gap, depends on how you want to read the title, which is where I'm going to be comparing the United States policy, family leave policy and Sweden's parental leave policy. Ooh, I'm hungry. One of the reasons I was interested in this topic to begin with is that usually when there's a gap or wage gap, a gap in the labor participation rates, it's usually addressed as one thing, which is a gender gap between men and women. Unfortunately, there's a little discussed gap between working mothers and non-mothers, or women without children, that is commonly referred to as the motherhood penalty or the motherhood gap. I probably will be using those two terms interchangeably throughout the paper and the presentation. Because we don't discuss it a lot, there are a few studies that actually show the long time changes of the motherhood penalty, but literature does show that as the pay gap between men and women has narrowed, the motherhood penalty has remained virtually unchanged. Now, we can attribute this to probably socioeconomic factors like race, education, marital status, etc. But I was wondering, could institutional differences between developed societies or different countries contribute to this overall gap? So think about it. Like in the United States, we emphasize equal pay, and equal pay and opportunity policies, but not family-oriented policies, along with everything else. Which is in direct contrast to other developed societies that have implemented both family-oriented policies and gender discrimination policies and seem to have had better success at narrowing both the gender gap and the family gap. I know Sweden in particular was one of the first countries to offer fathers paid leave, and subsequent reforms to their leave policies that make it mandatory that both parents take paid leave and offer flexible hours for working mothers. Because of this, and because of these differences, I wanted to compare the effectiveness of the policies in the United States and Sweden, and if there are any links between family policy and women's labor participation rate and wages. So yeah. For my analysis, I'll be examining panel data from the United States and Sweden from 1990 to 2018 for a total of 58 observations. In total, I have 8 different variables, the first one being family leave policy measure, which I'm looking at from 3 different dimensions. So whether it's paid or unpaid, the availability for both parents, whether it's exclusively maternity leave or not, and the minimum/maximum duration of weeks allowed. Female labor participation rate is the percent of females employed in the labor force. Wage is a log of a worker's regular hourly rate of pay. Age is expressed in years, which controls for years absent from the labor market, because depending on what age you are, it may kind of skew the jobs available to you. Educational attainment, which is the highest degree a woman has earned at age 25. For my analysis, I'll be looking for a bachelor's degree or higher. Experience, which is the average years of full-time and part-time work. This is one of the variables that gave me the most trouble, just because there are gaps in the available information on work experience, specifically in the 90s. I can't find a lot for certain years from 1990 to 2000, so that was a problem. Race, which is black, white, other, and then marital status, which is married and or single. And all of my variables is from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the U.S. Census Bureau, the SCB, which is Statistics Sweden, which is one of the most highest places to get stats or any data in Sweden, and then the Ministry of Employment Sweden and ILO Yearbook of Labor Statistics. So on to the regression. So for my regression, I have 2 different equations. For the first, the key interest independent variable is the same for both, which is policy, which I decided to lag just because the effect of policies will not have an immediate effect, and motherhood wage penalty can last years after childbirth. So I just wanted to kind of give it a better representation. My dependent variable for the first equation is FLPR, which is a female labor participation rate, and then the second dependent variable for my other equation is the log of wages, which I mentioned earlier. I am using the OLS regression model, and I included time and country fixed effects for any time trends common to both the United States and Sweden. My main question for my regression is, how does beta 1 affect x1? And my main hypothesis is beta 1 less than 0, or work and family basically conflict. And depending on the country's family leave policies, there may be a more negative effect on the wages and labor force participation of mothers. So as I expect my coefficient to be positive and which not. So for my results, I'm also sorry for the format. I had the worst time trying to get this on here in the first place, so I'm just happy it's here. There is statistical significance in female labor participation rate and wages for both, which is good. There was some significance with education and experience, so I think I just put something incorrectly. My R-squared is pretty small. And yeah, I'm also still working on it, so this is not even the final rendition. It's just the only one I could get loaded on my computer. So yeah, all regressions include country and time fixed effects, as I mentioned before. So yeah, that's my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, I'm done.